Country music and basketball, that is a sweet duet for Hoops fans this weekend. ABC 57's live team coverage continues tonight from the heart of the Final Four in Nashville. ABC 57's Emily Pritchard joins us live on Broadway tonight, where the weekend fun is just getting started down there. Emily.
Hey, Brian, how are you? You can see there is no lack of excitement down here in Nashville Entertainment District this weekend. The locals, they are just starting their weekend. Of course, the tourists, they're checking out the very famous sounds down here, and women's basketball fans, they are starting to invade the city here tonight. Take a look. You can see the cars are out and people are lining the streets down here along Broadway to get their weekend started. Now, I too took a quick lap up and down the block here just to check out, the sights and sounds for myself. You can hear music coming out of every live venue down here. Of course, some people, they're grabbing a bite to eat, others a few drinks, and some that are checking out the sounds down here along Broadway say there is just nothing quite like it.
A lot of history, a lot of amazing history. I mean, you don't even feel like you're in the 20th century. It's just amazing.
Plus, you have a lot of new people coming up. They're out on the street corners giving you free their music and, trying to make it big.
Now, of course, there are some other people trying to make it big here this weekend. Those are the 4 teams that have arrived here in Nashville to compete in the Final Four. That is UConn, Notre Dame, Stanford, and Maryland. And coming up all new at 6 o'clock tonight, I'll introduce you to the first women's basketball fans I met here in Nashville. For those of you in South Bend, I'm going to guess that most of you will not be rooting for them this Sunday. Of course, we'll bring that to you all new at the top of the hour. Reporting live from Nashville for the women's Final Four, Emily Pritchard, ABC 57 News.
Well, ABC 57 News has touched down in Nashville. Known as Music City, Nashville is the stage for this year's big dance. And tonight our coverage continues. It is the Notre Dame's 4th consecutive appearance in the Final Four. Tonight we have special team coverage for you with ABC 57's Emily Evans live outside Bridgestone Arena. But you can see we have both of our Emilys in Nashville. ABC 57's Emily Pritchard starts our live team coverage tonight from Music City on Broadway. Emily, good evening.
Hey, Brian, how are you? Yeah, who wouldn't want 2 Emilys in Nashville, right? Well, you can see I'm not alone here in the Entertainment District along Broadway. A number of people out here on the streets, of course, listening to live music and taking in all the sights and the sounds. Now, the arena where that Final Four game will be happening on Sunday, that is right across the street from me here. And signs, they were actually going up there this afternoon still. Now, that holds roughly 20,000 people. And, of course, that means all those basketball fans will be coming here downtown to Nashville, checking out all the sights and the sounds. Now, I joined them this afternoon, walking up and down Broadway, checking out that Entertainment District. I got to warn you, back in South Bend, the first basketball fans I ran into, well, they were from Maryland. That is going to be Notre Dame's opponent on Sunday in the Final Four. They told me that this year and last year's Final Four sides actually have something in common, and that is music.
Oh, I love it. We just went to New Orleans last year. It's very similar to Bourbon Street, New Orleans. Love it. Party atmosphere, whether you are a bar person or just want to be in the limelight, perfect place to come. It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, a lot of people loving it out here this evening. And while for the fans, they will be having a lot of fun over the weekend. Tomorrow, for those teams, all of the attention turns to the preparation for the Final Four games on Sunday. Let's go now to ABC 57's Emily Evans. She joins me live outside of Bridgestone Arena, where those games will be happening with the latest on the Fighting Irish. Hey, Emily.
And the trip to Nashville from South Bend will cost you more than 400 miles behind the wheel. But tonight, you're not missing out on anything because we are there for you. ABC 57's Emily Pritchard gives us a look at the sights and sounds of Nashville.
With thousands of basketball fans flocking to Nashville for the weekend, and of course your normal everyday tourist, we're giving you a taste of what Nashville is like after dark. Take a look inside.
Go, Kiwi, wait!
Southern hospitality. I'm from the north. Everybody's friendly down here, man. It's beautiful.
On the streets in the Music City, you've got it all. Boots on the pavement, babies enjoying the tunes, and the barbecue lights are blinking, calling everyone in.
Come downtown, experience the grilled meat, the barbecue. It's fantastic.
From daylight to dark, you're drawn in not only with the smells of good food and crisp tunes, but Broadway's bright lights are nothing to miss. How would you describe Nashville? One sentence if you could do it.
The people are extremely friendly.
Music all day long, just like this. Good time.
Walk down the strip, have a good time, meet some nice people.
And if you think you've seen what Nashville has to offer, just come back next weekend.
This is all day long, and every weekend there's something new. Like this weekend is the women's Final Four. Next weekend it's something else.
And of course, we're making a lot of friends while we're here in Nashville, and we're asking their advice on what to see and what to do. Well, everyone agrees tonight this is the place to be along Broadway, checking out all the sights and sounds. It doesn't look like the fun is stopping here anytime soon, and we'll be back with live coverage from Tennessee with the women's Final Four tomorrow at 6 and 7 o'clock on ABC 57. Reporting from Nashville, I'm Emily Pritchard, ABC 57 News.
The big dance is just 24 hours away. As the Fighting Irish prepare for the Final Four, the Nashville stage is set. And today the teams took over the Bridgestone Arena. We have live team coverage tonight with ABC 57's Emily Evans talking with the dedicated Irish faithful. But we start tonight with ABC 57's Emily Pritchard with the game plan for the Final Four matchup. Emily?
Hey Marissa, how are you? Hello from Nashville this afternoon. Well, I can tell you it was quite the day for the teams here in Nashville. All four Final Four teams hit this court behind me to get a little practice in before tomorrow's big matchups. And for Notre Dame and Maryland, well, a lot has changed since the last time they met up back in January. Maryland, they've grown up. And for the Fighting Irish, well, now they are fighting for that championship title without their ace senior, Natalie Achanwa. The pointing, clapping, and push to do more from the sideline, that always comes from the coach's huddle, but now also from senior Natalie Achanwa. She swapped out her sneakers for a tight grip on her crutches and a strong voice on the sideline.
Although I might not be physically on the court, I'm here mentally, emotionally, and physically I'm here, and I'm just trying to keep that role that I've had all year with my teammates.
Achanwa tore her ACL on the Irish Elite 8 win over Baylor. And as she leads off the court, freshman Taya Reimer is stepping in.
We're just thinking do a little bit more than we've been doing all season with Ace out. Getting more rebounds, especially for me, more rebounding.
Someone else is looking to get something back in Nashville, and that's Maryland. As they warm up for the weekend, they can't shake the memory of their January meeting with Notre Dame. The Terrapins were just points shy of handing Notre Dame its first loss of the season.
Closest game they had all season, and we were down 22. So, we know we got to come out focused from the start and just give them our best shot.
They know that's what they're facing from the undefeated Irish, especially now that they're fighting for one of their own.
We were prepared for a better team. I mean, when you're playing for somebody, I mean, we compare it to last year with the Louisville team when their teammate went down. I mean, and they ended up winning it all because they just had a new fire. So we're expecting them with the new fire.
And we'll have to see who is fired up here tomorrow. Tip-off is set for 6:30 South Bend time. And the Fighting Irish, when we were talking with the players today, well, they told us they actually gave themselves a nickname before the season ever started. That is Lucky 13. And coming up all new tonight at 10 and 11, I'll tell you why. Reporting live from Nashville with the Women's Final Four, Emily Pritchard, ABC 57 News.
Well, we've all heard of the luck of the Irish, but we know it took more than that for the Notre Dame to nab an undefeated season and get to the Final Four. But there is something else lucky and special about this year's Fighting Irish. ABC 57 Emily Pritchard continues our live team coverage from the heart of the Music City. Emily?
Well, Marissa, we know a lot of people feel fortunate to be out on the town tonight having a good time here in Nashville. Now, we do know Notre Dame is very happy to be in town this evening on the eve of their Final Four matchup against Maryland. Now, you know them, of course, as the Fighting Irish, but today the players told us that they have a new nickname. Check it out. Nashville is all about the fours this weekend, but for the Fighting Irish, they're talking about a different number leading into Sunday night's game.
Lucky 13.
Lucky 13 is a nickname the players gave themselves for the 13 players on the roster.
I want to say it came about when we were doing like our preseason media stuff for the season. I don't know who really came up with it, but we thought it was really catchy, Lucky 13. With the players on the team, we have a chance to have a really great season and do something special.
And they've sure done that on the court, finishing the regular season undefeated, a school record which catapulted them to Notre Dame's 4th consecutive Final Four appearance. 36-0 aren't bad numbers in the books, but 13 is typically considered an unlucky digit, but this team disagrees.
Like, hey, we have 13 players. A lot of people think that's, unlucky, but for us, it's a lucky 13, and that's something that we talked about. And every once in a while we come up and say it, but we're playing for each other. We're playing for our university. We're playing something bigger than ourselves.
Some thought last season was Notre Dame's chance to get that national title and put their name on the banner for the first time since 2001. But this year's squad is proving they might have just the right combination to make it work.
I think it goes to say how we stick together. No matter what happens, that 13, that's our core 13, and we're going to stick with that, and we're going to stay with each other no matter what.
And I asked the players today who came up with that new nickname, and well, no one could really decide. Some said it was a freshman that came up with it at the beginning of the season. Others thought it was Natalie Achanwa's creativity, but no matter who came up with the nickname, there's no question that the Lucky 13 have impressed a lot of people this season. Of course, we'll just have to wait until tomorrow evening to figure out if they have what it takes to get to the championship. Reporting live in Nashville with the women's Final Four, Emily Pritchard, ABC 57 News.
Well, tonight it's all on the line for Notre Dame as they prepare to face ACC rival Maryland in the 2014 Women's Final Four, and ABC 57 has team coverage out of Nashville. We start with ABC 57's Emily Pritchard, who is live outside of Bridgestone Arena where that game is going down. Emily, how are the teams getting ready today?
Well, of course, they are more than ready for this game this evening. When we talked with head coach Muffet McGraw for Notre Dame, she told us that they were actually anxious to play today. Now, tip-off is just getting ready to happen here at Bridgestone Arena behind me. And, of course, there is a lot on the line tonight for both Notre Dame and Maryland. And they only have 40 minutes of basketball to make it to that national championship. The Nets at Bridgestone Arena already got a test run from both Notre Dame and Maryland, but tonight is the battle.
We're obviously not going to take them lightly.
So that's what our game plan is, to just not get down and play Maryland basketball.
These two aren't strangers, but it has been nearly 70 days since the Fighting Irish traveled to the Terrapins' home and pulled off their closest win of the season, 87-83.
We need to come out and play with a lot of confidence, because the first time out we didn't, and we allowed them to play with a ton of confidence and take a big lead. So we need to come out ready to go.
But after losing touch for 2.5 months, you're looking at different lineups.
It was a close game at their place, and they're obviously a better team now, but we're a different team now also. So I think we're just going to be really focused on the details that we need to do in order to win the game.
That attention to detail is no doubt what sent Notre Dame back to its 4th Final Four in a row. But getting to Tuesday's championship game and cutting down those nets is what Notre Dame is truly fighting for this 36-0 season.
We still have the same goals that we've had all season to win a national championship, so we're going to go out there and try to make that happen.
And of course, Notre Dame had 3 senior starters, but since senior Natalie Achanwa's knee injury, they are down to also adding 1 sophomore and 2 freshmen to that starting lineup. And of course, we'll have to see if they have what it takes tonight to get to that championship game. And we'll have live reaction from the players and coaches from the locker room tonight for you at 10 and 11. Reporting live from Nashville with the women's Final Four, Emily Pritchard, ABC 57 News.
Well, forget the line dancing and trade in a little Irish jig. Tonight, Notre Dame is celebrating its Final Four win. ABC 57's Emily Pritchard was inside their locker room right after they beat Maryland. She continues our live team coverage from the Bridgestone Arena. Emily, this has to feel pretty good after they lost to UConn last year in the Final Four.
Oh, yes, no question about it. I think head coach Muffet McGraw said it best tonight. She said they are so happy to be going to the championship game, and they are on a mission. But tonight they did take a little bit of time to let this win sink in their 37-0 season so far. And take a look. I was there this evening as they came out of the arena after flying by Maryland 87-61. Now, McGraw was first out with a high five, of course, to some standing by, and then came out the Lucky 13, as they have nicknamed themselves, with a few jumps and some pretty big smiles, of course, celebrating that Final Four win. Now, a big part of walking out with that W tonight was senior Kayla McBride. She had 19 points at the half and then topped off the night with a final 28.
I credit my teammates for finding me the ball, but, I was in a flow. In Final Four, as a senior, I was just trying to leave it on the floor. I was making open shots. I was feeling the crowd, just feeling the environment. It was definitely something I'll remember.
Wow, she got off to a great start offensively. I thought she was key to kind of calm everybody down. And then we were able to do the job on the boards.
And, of course, another big factor tonight was the rebounding. McGraw said this evening in the locker room that this was the best defensive game her team has played all year. And, of course, it couldn't have come at a better time. The Fighting Irish are headed to the national championship game on Tuesday. And join me in just a few hours on ABC 57 News at 5 a.m. We will have much more reaction from inside the Fighting Irish locker room. Reporting live from the Bridgestone Arena with the women's Final Four, Emily Pritchard, ABC 57 News.
One more game. That's been the Fighting Irish's motto all season long, but now there truly is just one game left, which could send them back to South Bend with a national title. ABC 57's Emily Pritchard joins us live from Nashville this morning. And Emily, Notre Dame's perfect streak, it just keeps on going.
Yeah, Megan, you are so right. Good morning from Nashville. The Irish, they are now 37-0 after beating Maryland in last night's Final Four matchup. Now, that is a perfect season so far, but for these players that I talked with last night, they say it will not be complete unless they nab that national title tomorrow night.
Our fans were great. Everyone played well, so we're excited, but, we're not satisfied.
Not satisfied and not done yet.
I think everybody just feels like they have to step up, and I think that's good for us because it's more team effort. Everybody's a threat.
Jewel Lloyd got the Irish on the board first.
You always want to get to a great start.
And then the key to the night started early. Off a rebound, Lindsay Allen gets it to Lloyd again for that fast start the Irish wanted.
That was amazing. The rebounding was truly amazing. To hold them to 4 offensive rebounds for the game, that is an unbelievable accomplishment.
In the first half, Kayla McBride put up 19 points, which ties her for the 12th most in a half in women's Final Four history. As if the Irish needed an even bigger boost, going into halftime, Madison Cable nailed this three.
The fans are great. The bench was going crazy. Everyone was excited. It was fun to go into halftime.
And those Fighting Irish just keep on battling. Ariel Breaker got hit in the head and taken out in the second half. But Markeisha Wright came right on in.
Oh, Markeisha Wright, player of the game. Came off the bench, 12 points, 9 rebounds. Who expected her to do that?
Now that they've cruised past Maryland 87-61, it's on to the also perfect 39-0 UConn Huskies, who the Irish lost to last year in the Final Four.
We're so happy to be playing in the championship game. After falling short last year, we're on a mission.
And this morning we will get to interview both the Huskies and the Fighting Irish again about as they prepare for that championship game tomorrow night. Of course, we'll bring you all of the action in our 90 minutes of news tonight at 5 o'clock. And at the top of the hour here, within the next half hour, we'll take you inside that Fighting Irish celebration from last night after their win over Maryland. Reporting live from Nashville with the women's Final Four, Emily Pritchard, ABC 57 News.
Indianapolis, Denver, New Orleans, now Nashville. Notre Dame has tried its luck at the Final Four in all of those locations, but could this year be the year to win the national title? ABC 57's Emily Pritchard joins us. She's live in Nashville this morning after the Fighting Irish's big win over Maryland last night. And Emily, now the team is just one step closer.
Yeah, they're about as close as it gets to where you either bring home that national title or you go home with just second place. Of course, Notre Dame hoping for the first one going into tomorrow night's game, and they managed to do this after beating Maryland last night in the Final Four, 87-61. And take a look here at that celebration from last night. This is at the Bridgestone Arena after the Fighting Irish were leaving that gym floor with their win. You can even see Jewel Lloyd and injured Natalie Achanwa having a little bit of fun on their way to the locker room last night. But of course, this is a business trip for Notre Dame, and they know they have unfinished business here in Nashville.
I think I'm really excited. You know, we couldn't get it right the first 3 years, so I think everyone's really excited to go back and give it another go.
Winning the game today means so much more, and I think our focus is going to be 10 times more than it was the first game. So it's exciting.
And tomorrow night's game is going to be something you are not going to want to miss. Both teams, Notre Dame and UConn, are undefeated this season. And you cannot forget either that Notre Dame last lost, that was 38 games ago, to UConn in last year's Final Four. So we know that tomorrow night's game is going to be a tough one on both sides of the net. And for more coverage from Nashville, tune into our 90 minutes of news starting tonight at 5. We will be live with reaction from both teams as they prepare for tomorrow night's game. Reporting live from Nashville with the women's Final Four, Emily Pritchard, ABC 57 News.
The Notre Dame women's basketball team is playing in the national championship tonight. ABC 57's Emily Pritchard joins us live this morning from the Bridgestone Arena in Nashville. And Emily, UConn and Notre Dame, they've met before here, right?
Well, they are no strangers, Megan. That is right. They have actually played each other 12 times in the past 3 seasons, but they have not faced each other this season. Now, while the two will not share that trophy this evening, they do still share something this morning, and that is a 0 in the loss column. Now, we caught up with the UConn Huskies yesterday in their locker room. They were actually playing a game of Uno to pass the time by before they hit the court for practice here at the Bridgestone Arena. Now, those undefeated Huskies, they are working to win back-to-back national championships. And for the Irish, well, they have some traditions of their own. Every NCAA tournament, one of them, the most notable, is actually green fingernail polish, a little unique for the Fighting Irish. Now, this started actually back in the 1997 tournament when now assistant coach Neil Ivey and associate coach Beth Cunningham were actually players on the team. And another tradition the Irish would like to keep going is their recent win record. They've actually won the last 7 of 9 games against UConn.
Well, I think there's an intensity factor. I think a lot of people go in playing UConn, they see their jerseys and they've already lost the game. I don't think we're like that. I think we have a certain swag to us, and I think it's like that with any team. And I don't know. I think we already don't like each other, so that adds to it too.
Well, you can hear there tonight is going to be a tough battle and an emotional one, I'm sure. Tip-off is at 8:30 this evening here at Bridgestone Arena. And coming up within the next half hour, I'll show you just how historic tonight's matchup truly is. Reporting live from Nashville with the women's Final Four, Emily Pritchard, ABC 57 News.
Well, the Notre Dame women's basketball team is playing in the national championship tonight. It is down to numbers for the Fighting Irish. 40 minutes of basketball, striving to go 38-0, trying to give UConn its first loss and be the one to go home with the national championship trophy. ABC 57's Emily Pritchard joins us live from Nashville this morning. And Emily, looks like tonight's the big night.
It is, Megan. Good morning from Nashville. Well, the math, it doesn't get much simpler than number 1 versus number 2, and that's exactly what we have in tonight's championship game between Notre Dame and UConn. And this matchup, it is a historic one inside Bridgestone Arena. It's actually the first time in NCAA women's and men's basketball history that the two teams meeting here in the championship game are undefeated. Now, UConn is trying to add to its 39-0 season after beating Stanford in the Final Four on Sunday night. And the Fighting Irish, well, they just keep on pushing forward, trying to nab their 38th win of the season. And for the players, they say they are not focusing so much on the magnitude of their so far perfect season.
The whole entire year, everyone kept asking, how's it feel to be undefeated? I mean, it doesn't you don't feel any different about it. I feel like at least no one on our team, I think, would say that. I mean, you hear it in the media and things like that, but it's just, I think we were focused on taking one game at a time.
And unfortunately, well, there's just one game left, and then, of course, the winner will be crowned tonight. And coming up within the next half hour, here's some of the words being exchanged between these two teams leading into tonight's big game. Reporting live from Nashville with the women's Final Four, Emily Pritchard, ABC 57 News.
Well, our other big story this morning, the national championship game in Nashville, just hours away. ABC 57 has brought you live coverage of Notre Dame's quest in the Final Four, including here all morning long. Our Emily Pritchard joins us live from where that final game will be played tonight at Bridgestone Arena. And Emily, we're just hours away from that big matchup.
You are so right, Megan. Good morning from Nashville. Well, first there were 4, but this morning we are finally down to 2. And old foes Notre Dame and UConn will battle it out in just a matter of hours. Now, it was just 1 year ago that these two faced each other back in last year's Final Four. But in the previous 3 seasons, they actually met 12 different times. But here in Nashville, though, it doesn't appear that that distance and time apart made the heart grow fonder. Take a listen here to the words being thrown around with this rivalry.
When you play them 4 times a year, you kind of you grow that I don't want to say hate. Hate's too strong of a word, but that dislike, and I think it's just exciting to get the opportunity to play in the rivalry once again.
It's really built up, and they've been able to beat us a few times in recent years. So people have really loved the game. People have really enjoyed watching it, and it's always really competitive.
We already don't like each other, so that adds to it too.
You know, last year they beat us 2 times, but we got them in the semifinal game. So they probably thought they were the better team last year, and this year they want to prove it. But I think this year, we've been playing well as a team. We just got to come out and prove, the country that we've worked hard for this, and last year wasn't a mistake.
And tonight, we will see who will leave here in Nashville as a national champion. And we will have live team coverage for you both before and after tonight's big game. Of course, that all starts in our 90 minutes of news tonight at 5. Reporting live from Nashville with the women's Final Four, Emily Pritchard, ABC 57 News.
I think the whole country's been waiting for this game, undefeated against undefeated.
Oh, it is the moment that we have all been waiting for. Notre Dame goes head-to-head with UConn. How fans are revving up for tonight's historic matchup.
Plus, a family is clinging to hope 25 years after their loved one goes missing. Why they say they never stop searching.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Brian Dorman.
And I'm Kim Chappell. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Notre Dame and Connecticut have orchestrated a perfect season so far. And now we are just hours away from knowing who will leave Music City as national champions.
ABC 57's Emily Pritchard continues our special live team coverage from Nashville. She is live from the Notre Dame pep rally. And Emily, how are the fans feeling just hours now from tip-off?
Well, you can see and hear for yourself. They're feeling pretty good in here. Take a look. I am surrounded by a sea of lime green inside the Hard Rock Cafe here in Nashville. And now's the time for these fans to sit back, relax, take in a little time to take a break before they head up the street to the Bridgestone Arena for all the excitement in that matchup later tonight between UConn and Notre Dame.
I think the whole country's been waiting for this game.
I've tried my best to do you right, but baby, I can't try no more.
Undefeated against undefeated.
The lights are still blinking along Broadway, and women's basketball fans are out making known who they're rooting for tonight.
Go Irish!
This afternoon, the Nashville sky was clear, except for that storm brewing between UConn and Notre Dame fans.
Hatred.
You say it's a hatred?
Oh, yeah, we don't like them and they don't like us.
UConn! Huskies! UConn! Huskies!
This group of Big Blue has had one big weekend.
I feel like we're the basketball capital of America right now.
They're sporting a statement after watching their men's team win a national championship in Dallas just hours ago.
We had to drive through Nashville on our way back home, so we said, well, we'll just stop and see the women tonight.
As they roam the streets looking for tickets, the Fighting Irish have their sights set on staying perfect this season.
It gives you goosebumps, I think, to know that they're undefeated. We saw them all the games that they played, home games, and It's unbelievable they can do it.
I behold up some honky-tonk.
As the blocks of Broadway get a little more attention than your average Tuesday afternoon.
This is great. I mean, this place rocks. And on and on and on, you know.
The Irish are moving onward tonight to what they've been waiting for all season.
It's just so exciting. It's just like, pinch me. I can't believe we're here.
Well, you can hear it for yourself. There is a lot of excitement here this evening, and coming up within the next hour, we will show you more live from the press conference here, and even hear what one Fighting Irish fan from South Bend has to say about what the key to tonight's game is. Reporting live from Nashville with the women's Final Four, Emily Pritchard, ABC 57 News.
I'm told now that we have a live interview. Coach Muffet McGraw speaking here in post. Let's listen in for a second.
That's when you miss Natalie with the experience. You know, nothing else, just knowing where to go and how to be in the right spot and kind of to calm everyone down.
Talk about the experience some of those younger players got while playing in the Final Four and the national championship. That will help.
Yeah, I mean, I think coming off the semifinal, I think everybody had a lot of confidence, and so I think we definitely built some confidence with the younger players there. You know, and then to have this game, hopefully it'll inspire them to be back in the gym really soon and start working on next year.
And that's going to be the look ahead, of course, for next year. Coach Muffet McGraw there, Emily Pritchard throwing a question at her. ABC 57 special coverage of Notre Dame's loss to UConn continues. One of the players most upset with tonight's loss is Natalie Achanwa. The senior was injured earlier in the tournament, and tonight she talked with ABC 57's Emily Pritchard about her feelings. We are just getting this sound into the ABC 57 newsroom tonight. Let's take a listen.
I was really proud of this team. We've done so much this season that we can't hang our heads on one game. Playing in the championship game, playing in the Final Four is going to be nothing but help. Yeah, we lost, but I mean, having that experience next year with Markeisha Ray and Taya as a freshman coming in and doing what she did, I mean, it's only going to help them.
And I know your last, game with the team. When you look back, do you have a favorite memory, a best memory? It's kind of hard, I know, probably at this moment to put that into perspective, but just thoughts on that?
There are so many. We've been through so much together, the highs, the lows. I mean, I could pick a low moment because of how we fought back from it. But, I mean, I always said I'd go to war with these 12, and I'm really glad that I had the opportunity to do that.
A great experience and a lot to be proud of with this season.
And the Fighting Irish aren't returning to South Bend as national champions after falling to UConn last night, but they did take Notre Dame fans on an unforgettable ride this season. ABC 57's Emily Pritchard joins us from Bridgestone Arena to show how this does not mean the success is over.
Good morning from Nashville as cleanup continues here in the Bridgestone Arena. The Fighting Irish, they too are picking up the pieces this morning after last night's disappointing loss to UConn in the national championship. And while the Irish wanted to go 38-0 this season, they still had an impressive streak. And if anything, they proved there is always next year.
Everybody's just sad, we don't realize how great of a season that we had because we just ended on a loss to our rivals.
A 79-58 loss to Connecticut was not the result the Fighting Irish were hoping to leave the arena with Tuesday night. But as head coach Muffet McGraw told her players, their 37-1 season, that's nothing to hang their heads about, especially after many assumed they might not even make it to the Final Four after losing Skylar Diggins last year, who was in the locker room last night talking with her former teammates.
Looking back at it, we had a great season, and we did so many things that a lot of people said we couldn't do, so that's the biggest thing.
The next big thing could be ahead, especially since the now young roster has valuable championship experience to build upon.
Yeah, we lost, but I mean, having that experience next year with Markeisha Ray and Taya as a freshman coming in and doing what she did, I mean, it's only going to help them.
McGraw says she knows that win over Maryland in the Final Four built confidence, and maybe the loss to the Huskies will serve as motivation.
And then to have this game, hopefully it'll inspire them to be back in the gym really soon and start working on next year.
And I heard you say the off-season starts tomorrow. Is that?
For me, yeah, I'm back at it. It's no days off.
And head coach Muffet McGraw is returning 10 of her players from the roster this year, and that includes standout Jewel Lloyd, who was a member of the All-American Tournament team. Reporting in Nashville with the women's Final Four, Emily Pritchard, ABC 57 News.